phone so that at least we have one person.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I always do. Hey, we're live. This is Even Footing Games, and we are doing a casual chat of all of our trans rights readathon picks. And it looks like it's just me and Alana because nobody else showed up. Rick was a complete jerk and flaked on us because GaryCon, I guess. And Jason was supposed to be here and also ditched. No idea what's going on. So yeah, here we are, Alana. We've already been talking about books for a good hot minute. But now we're gonna do it if somebody wants to join in with us. But so what have you been reading this week, Alana?
Oh no!
Oh yeah, you got to turn yourself down.
That was my bad.
Oh, and I forgot to put it on. Hold on a second. I'm going to tell our Twitter, or not our Twitter, our Discord that we are live. Maybe somebody will come talk books with us.
Jason, we're talking to you.
Book club right now. With guys, this is so professional.
Extra professional.
Go ahead while I'm typing, Alana.
Okay,
Feel free to tell me about what books you've read.
So I read Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White, An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. And then I had Light from Uncommon Stars.
Ooh, I did not read that for this thing, but I read it recently.
And I forgot to write down the name.
Raya Aoki? Is that her name?
Aoki, I believe is correct. Right.
I love that one.
Rika Aoki, yes, that is correct.
And you had one more, right?
And I also read Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquist.
That's a lot. And your books were a lot beefier than mine. Honestly, I wish I had more time to read this week. But I read Pet by, please excuse me, Awaki Emezi, Dragon Tea Society, which I know is a children's book, but shut up, I read it with my kid, by Kay O'Neill, The Deep by Rivers Solomon, and Tomorrow Will Be Different by Sarah McBride. I'm also currently reading Fierce Femmes and Notorious Liars by Kay Chang Tom, and Real Sugar is Hard to Find by Sim Kern. So we've got a lot of books between us. Where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about the one that we both have read, which is Light from Uncommon Stars? We didn't even talk about that one at all.
Yeah, we haven't.
So that one will be fresh. Hot takes, guys. Nobody's watching this right now, so maybe it'll go big on YouTube. Who knows? It's okay. If you come in at some point, I comment and let us know what you read for the Trans Rights Readathon, because I honestly have had, besides not having as much time to read, I've had such a good time with this challenge, and it's made me read, different materials than I would have normally read, outside my typical genres. It's done lots for me reading, I think. But what'd you think of Light from Uncommon Stars?
I really enjoyed it. I kind of liked the world of music that they kind of created with the stories.
Absolutely. That one is it's a Faustian bargain kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't feel like this is giving anything away. They're aliens.
Which is like, what?
Yeah. There's a Faustian bargain with a demon, I feel like, and not an alien, and also aliens who have a donut shop,
and it's amazing.
It's
And
wild.
they really
Now,
call their spaceship the donut. It's amazing.
so like the thing about this book is that one is my genre. Like I read science fiction fantasy regularly. So this
Me
one
too.
I had read previously to this, and it was so wild. It's such a hot mashup of different things, and you don't feel like they should go together, but they go together so well.
It was beautiful. and the ending is just so heartwarming. I loved it.
Yeah. Everything, it's a great story. I really loved it. Highly recommend.
Yes.
But then I think the other one, like, so I mean, honestly, I've read all of my books. I have good things to say about them, even though, like, Tomorrow Will Be Different. I don't know if you know who Sarah McBride is. I remember that a transgender woman spoke at the Democratic National Convention in 2016.
Yeah.
I remember that, but I did not know anything about her. I also did not know that she was a politician when I picked this up. And would I normally read a politician's memoir? Probably not. Probably not. And at the beginning of the book, I was like, okay, like, I kind of know what happens to a bill that makes it into a law, and I understand that thing, and probably wouldn't have sat down for it. But by the end, sobbing. Absolute sobbing. So
reeled you in.
yeah, so she's like super young. It only comes from her time from coming out, or just slightly before coming out, to like her being 25. 5-year span in this book. She gets married. Her husband dies of terminal cancer like 3 days after they get married. It's terrible. I mean, terrible, sad, but like, honestly, like, there's a whole lot of her overcoming in this book that is crazy. Would not have been what I would have picked up had it not been for this. And I'm glad I did. Like, it was real wild. You want to talk about one that, and then we'll end with all the River Solomon stuff, because we have lots to say about rivers.
Yes, we do. I also read, Hell Followed With Us, the Andrew Joseph White. That one's like kind of embracing the monster within and kind of unleashing its powers on your oppressors, sort of.
Yeah,
Helio.
so that one, I think it's on my stretch goal list, which I'm not going to get to. I'm like, it'll be on my list for later. Oh, look it, Jason's gonna come join us, and it's just in time.
Just in time.
Jason.
Hi.
So we've been talking, but like literally, we were just about, like, Alana was just about to talk about Hell Follows With Us.
Hey, I read that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I figured
we both read it,
but it's on my list to read, and it is in a Christo-fascist society.
Yeah, the angels control everything, and are the oppressors, definitely.
But the angels are just the Christo-fascists. That's what they call themselves. They're not actual angels.
Not literal.
Yeah, no, that's what they
They
refer to themselves as, the angels. Their monsters are called Grace, and
yes, but they do make monsters. Yeah. Never really explains it. Just like
not really.
Some vague reference to a scientist in a lab who made the flood, which was a virus that killed off everybody, pretty much.
Yeah. If you get like the fluids of the monster on you or anything like that, it was very contagious, and it would transform you into one of those monsters violently in a horrible way, where you're literally like puking out your guts, and literally, not figuratively, literally puking out your organs in black bile.
Ugh.
So the people.
I thought this was YA, guys.
So the majority of people who came in contact with the flood were horribly killed when their insides literally exploded outside. But some of them would get mutated, and they were considered holy by the Christo-fascists. Yeah.
And then they created like I think it was called Seraph.
They called it Seraph. Yeah.
Yeah, Seraph, which is the boy Benji that we follow in the story. He was created to be Seraph, or host Seraph is what he refers it to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically a ticking time bomb waiting to happen.
Seraph is the monster that can control all the other monsters. So this was like their chosen monster that they were trying to create, these Christo-fascists with their labs. So they were like giving all of these kids like different versions of the virus, and Benji was the one who just happened to take. So
special one.
He's the special one.
who survived the basically Seraph.
Right.
But Jason, you had mentioned that this one is where the monster of the inside is also the dysmorphia.
Yes.
That's kind of yes. That it becomes. It's definitely the analogy that the author is using, because Benji is a trans kid, and so he speaks a lot about how coming to grips with his changing body and how it's alien to him, but becoming more used to him is kind of how he felt when he was realizing, that he was actually a boy, not a girl. And when Benji escapes from the cult, he finds himself. His new family becomes a group of LGBTQ kids who have taken over a local center, and they're basically acting as mercenaries. Like they're
trying to pick off the angels.
Yeah, they get hired by these group of redneck preppers to basically kill off the angels, and for every angel they kill, like the preppers will give them food and stuff like that. But and that was also too. It was like even in the apocalypse, like the LGBT kids, they're outcasts from the rest of society.
So that's a wild ride one. Jason, I think you and I have both read Pet by
I read Pet a few years back.
Aweki Emezi. That speaking of angels, in this society, it's a utopian society. They have killed off all of the monsters. Monsters being, I mean, from what you understand, are anyone who does any harm to anybody.
Yeah.
Like anybody who would hurt anybody. So it's pretty wild. But just the other thing that in this society that I thought was so great is that our Jam is our main character, and she was transgender and was like immediately put on all of her hormones and stuff. She has no body dysmorphia because she's been treated, and it's like hardly a point in the book at all, which is wonderful and kind of different from some of the other books on that we've gone over.
Right.
However, she's fighting with an angel, although he looks pretty monstrous, to see if there are any more monsters out there, because we can't be complacent, I think, is the kind of
he comes out of a painting, right?
Yeah.
Is he like the biblical monsters? Or
he's
like biblical angels? Sorry.
Yeah, that's
he's
what
like
I
a biblical
think.
angel,
Yeah.
I think so. Like, and I feel like it's kind of left up ambiguous. And again, like, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't think you have to know that he's an angel I don't think it, whether or not it is, and like, it's not I don't think it has a gender, but whether or not it's an angel, I don't think is a big point of the book. But what it is that you can't be complacent. Even when you think everything is fine,
right?
You still have to look for the signs. And if you just assume everything's gone, you'll miss things, is I think the message of that. And honestly, it was a great book. Like, I really enjoyed it.
I do remember enjoying Pet, when I read it. Yeah, I think it is an interesting take, though, that Pet's transgenderism, or not Pet, because Pet was the name of the monster.
Jam.
Jam's transgenderism is, it's never really.
It's like
it's mentioned,
it's
brought up, but
she's
it's not
like a tiny child.
Yeah,
it's like not, she tells him, and then at some point she says like her estrogen cartridge in her arm is cold. Like, other than that, there was nothing.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah. It was wild, and I actually really liked that it was clear, but it was in this society, it's such a non-issue. It was a really, I think that in a lot of the stories that you read where transgenderism is featured, it is often a really traumatic thing, and it was kind of fun and nice to see it in this really kind of wholesome, just almost a non-issue, and that there was no problem. She was just always able to live her life.
Yeah.
And there are lots of other problems in the book, but that ain't one.
There you go. Maybe you solve that problem. There's still 1,000 more to deal with.
I know, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else do we want to talk about?
Do you want to get into Rivers Solomon?
Yeah, I will just say that if you by chance are looking for a book to read with your children who are young and you want to do this, Dragon Tea Society is delightful. It's not a book about transgenderism. It is literally, but it does have what I feel like are depicted as non-binary and gay couples, although it's not like at all. It's just like in passing. Right. It was just a lovely book to read with my 6-year-old, and I recommend it. And he wants to read all of it because he thinks the art is so pretty. Because dragons that have tea leaves coming out of their horns is amazing.
That's a very adorable.
Do they brew the tea with their tea leaves?
Yes. So horns? It takes a long time for the tea to grow.
I bet it does.
And then, but these people that care for them are like the tea dragons are very small, and they are not. They're like pets. They need people to take care of them, and so they take care of them. And occasionally, you'll get leaves, and this is a special tea, and it's. I think the lesson of it is to make sure that you are continuing to know like your history and the old ways. Like, even though other things are faster, like it is still really important to know things that are old and true and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Kind of like how everything became what it was from its roots.
Yeah. One of the characters is head. One of the characters is a blacksmith. Like, her mom is a blacksmith, and so like she's like, nobody uses swords anymore. Why do we do this? Because it's important to know, and it's important to keep, because what if somebody did need something, and this is an important skill, so we keep doing it. And it's the same kind of thing with the tea. So
harvesting the dragons. Yeah.
Well, no, the dragons there's no hurting of the dragons in the harvesting.
Okay.
However,
it's gently trimming, right?
Yes,
gently
exactly.
Trimming.
For now.
Oh.
It was said to be like a 7 to 9 year old book. So, and I read it with my 6-year-old, and it was fine. You probably could even go younger. I don't feel.
I was going to say that sounds like little kid, like younger toddlers and up could enjoy that as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the art is gorgeous. But yeah, the other books that I have on my list, I have not finished. Fierce Femmes and Notorious Liars is magical realism, which is not maybe something that I would have picked up. And honestly, I'm having a little trouble keeping track of what's drugs and what's magic. However, I'm excited to finish it.
Why does there have to be a difference?
I was gonna say, is it a difference?
Maybe not. However, it's a wild ride.
I've had pretty similar experiences with both of those things. So.
And Real Sugar is Hard to Find is actually just a series of short stories that are kind of post-apocalyptic. That is Sim Kern, who is the originator. I know that this is a completely not leaderless trans rights readathon thing that we're all, but they were the originator of the idea and told everybody to raise money for, you know, different trans causes, which by the way, we have our link on the video that we are raising money for the Trans Health Legal Fund and the Transgender Law Center. I think we're about halfway to our goal of $100.
Okay.
So
Great.
You know, if you have the ability or just want to spread the you know, just support trans authors and trans stories, you can do that either way, either with money or with, you know, reading it and being more inclusive in books and what you choose to read and how you tell your own stories. But yeah, so I think this is, Alana and I are like, we're so excited to talk about this. So we read 2 books by the same author, and they were so good.
Yeah,
which ones did you guys read again?
Delightful.
Yeah.
So Alana read, go ahead.
An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon.
And I read The Deep by Rivers Solomon. And they are very different, but they are so wild. Do you want to go first or should I go first?
I'll start.
Okay.
So basically, An Unkindness of Ghosts is transposes the plantation's cruelty to the stars. Is what one of the descriptors I read. So that it's pretty accurate. It's basically the ship Matilda is taking people to a destination to repopulate a world, and but the ship has divided its passengers into the upper deckers and the lower deckers, and of course it's very classist, and it's very like the uppers are definitely the oppressors, the lower deckers are the oppressed, and the description is they're wealthy, light-skinned for the upper deckers and the oppressed, laboring lower deckers. So yeah.
So pretty subtle with the analogies there, huh?
Yeah, and there's literally there's several plantation spaces
on the
literally
ship.
on the ship, and
Right.
the ship is run by something called Baby, which is like a dwarf star, and it's really small, and it basically makes all of these plantations come to life, and they're all layered. So they have like it's insane when you like read the story. You're just imagining these things spinning around the sun, and like each time getting their own time during the sun that they need for the plants to grow and everything like that. So all the lower deckers are handling and creating and cultivating all the food and repairs, and Astrid is the main character of the story, and they're like kind of ambiguous. They don't really identify as female or male, and they're basically a roundhouse of knowledge. They know everything about the ships, about the plants, about everything in the entire story. So it's very lovely. It's very horrible at the same time, like what they deal with between the upper deckers and the lower deckers. So
So my story by River Solomon is wild, and I only found out about how wild it is after I read the book. So back in the early 2000s, there was an electronic punk duo called, hang on a second, I'm going to tell you, they were called Drexciya. And they were writing concept albums about this race of people in the bottom of the ocean that had begun by women getting like enslaved women getting dumped overboard on ships if they were pregnant and like basically sick or anything like that, and their babies who were in this kind of fluid uterine state who had never breathed air were then somehow taken in by whales and like transformed into mer people. They call them the Wajinru. Well, actually at first they have a different name, but
is this
anyway,
a real band?
This is a real band called Drexciya.
Drexciya.
Okay, so then they wrote a whole bunch of concept albums. There's all this mythology about these people who are living under the ocean and this society. Then in 2017 or something, Ira Glass
This American Life.
Yes, goes to a band called Clippings.
Okay.
And I don't know all of them, but one of the main people that we would all know is Daveed Diggs is in Clippings,
sure.
From Hamilton fame.
From Hamilton, yeah.
And they write a Afrofuturistic song for This American Life based on the Drexciya concept albums of this society, this utopian society of mer people.
And they made some graphic novels as well, and
oh wow,
it
just keeps
gorgeous.
Getting deeper and deeper.
There's so much written. Most of the songs are instrumental. However, like there's no like words to them, but they wrote tons about this society.
Mm-hmm.
So then this becomes a thing in 2017. And after that, I don't know how, but River Solomon, with this and also with the stuff from the Clippings song, writes this novella called The Deep, which all of the concept arts are like the deep 1 through 5 million. There are so many of them. It goes deep, guys. Excuse the pun.
On every level.
Exactly. This rabbit hole, like I finished this book today and I've just been like listening to the music that came from all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've just been looking this up. It's so wild. So anyway, these mer people live in the deep, and then it's kind of a concept of the giver, where there is a historian, somebody who takes all of the traumatic memories of how they became a people and holds them for everybody else, and they do a remembering once a year. But this one person runs away in the middle of the remembering, giving the people the memories, and kind of goes off on an adventure on her own. And that time away kind of lets her appreciate what it means to have all of these memories, also to find wholeness in herself, and have a little time to make friends with some of the two legs up on the surface
People.
Yeah. So it's really good. Guys, River Solomon became a absolute must-read author. I'm ready for Unkindness of Ghosts. The mer people definitely have genders, but all of them, like, they identify with different genders, but they are all intersex. They all, like fish, have all of the stuff, and that's pretty clear. So however they identify is how they identify, but they one character identifies as a we because they're one of the historians in the past and they have access to all these other memories. So it makes sense to me that if you're slipping into other people's memories and kind of reliving it, that you might, yeah,
encompassing.
yeah. But this was a wild ride, and I'm really glad that
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm definitely reading The Deep after.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
want to check out both of those.
Like, honestly, I gave it 5 stars, and I'm not somebody who lightly, like, I religiously storygraph, and I don't give out 5 stars. I try not to give out 5 stars. Like, if I love a book, I'm definitely going to give it 5 stars, but I try to be pretty sparing that a book has to be pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not
And
going to be not good books.
honestly, if I was going to give it a note, I could have stayed in the society longer. Like, it's a novella, but I could have read 1,000 pages on it.
Yeah.
That's never a bad thing when you
Yeah.
keep on reading. Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to keep going.
Yeah. Any other books? I know you had one other one, right?
Yeah.
Alana?
It was Tripping Arcadia. And
yeah, and I had never heard of this one before you said you were reading it. So
yeah, I can't remember how I found it, but it's basically you're following Lena, who's a Boston med school dropout, and she ends up landing an assistant job for a full-time physician for the Read-A-Thon family, who is like a very higher upper class family, and they've got like big money, basically, is what it comes down to. And it's kind of her journey and relationships with these people and finding out the truths, because it's very like, it's a little bit crime story sort of thing where it's like uncovering bits and pieces as you go along. And yeah, and she like, so she becomes great friends with Audrey Read-A, who she actually has a romantic interest with. And then she's taking care of Audrey's brother, Jonathan Read-A, who is very ill. And it later on, you find out why. I won't spoil that because I'm pretty sure people would love to read the story and find the mystery themselves. But yeah, so she's just helping out with his family, and it kind of gets wild, a little crazy. There's like these parties they have that you discover that are kind of twisted and full of drugs, and she's literally preventing people from dying at these parties from overdoses without getting the police or emergency involved, just as like a little piece that you find out really early on. just to entice.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's basically like a little crime mystery. It's a little fun one. But yeah, that's that story.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this experience, I'm hoping to finish these last 2 that I've been working on. Probably won't get any further than that because I've read a lot this week and been really busy. However, I was, I don't know if this was Alana and my conversation beforehand, because we were talking a long time before we actually went live.
Yes, we were.
You used up all the good stuff.
I know, but there was so much that I wouldn't have picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have picked up Sarah McBride's book. I probably wouldn't have picked up Fierce Femmes and Notorious Liars. I wouldn't. It's just like, it's been kind of a fun thing to read, different genres and outside of my wheelhouse, and this really forced me to pick up some new books, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I also agree with that, because I probably wouldn't have tried Light from Uncommon Stars unless I heard about it through some grapevine.
I would have told you. I would have told you that one's great.
Yeah. But Tripping Arcadia, I wasn't expecting. I was like, this is gonna be very, I don't know if I like this. But
yeah, well, when you said it was like Jane Eyre, and then I was like, wait a second, and drugs, and like, okay, that's wild.
Yeah, it's modernized. It's just like modernized Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, Jane Eyre, that kind of style of novel.
Like Regency.
Yeah, that's what it feels like when you first started. I actually didn't realize it was like present day until somebody was like, and I pulled out my phone and texted so and so, and I was like, what? I was so confused, and I was just like, okay, never mind. I'm like way off where I'm thinking this is from, because it has that flowery language,
Yeah.
and like it's very like proper and very, that sort of feeling from Pride and Prejudice. And
Well,
Jane
and
Eyre
if
and
you've
all that.
got uber rich people, it
Oh, yeah.
often changes
often,
the,
yeah.
the language.
Yes,
Until the
yes,
drug
it did.
orgies start, yeah.
Yeah, no, straight up. It was like drug orgies. It was weird.
Yeah, like, not gonna yuck anybody's yums here, guys.
That's true.
Why
That's
else would
true.
you be rich if not for the
For
drug
all the
orgies?
drug orgies, coercing people with
I
drugs
guess
and money.
that's why none of us are.
I don't think I'd want to join them. That's just me.
That's just because Alana's not rich enough yet, and she's Canadian, so she's too polite to say that she would join a drug orgy.
Only if she were invited. She wouldn't presume, wouldn't just
Yeah.
show up. That's
No.
impolite. Yeah.
But if somebody says, "Hey, I got this party over here," then she's
A.
gonna go.
You have to add the A in all the way.
Hey, I got this party over here. That's how you ask somebody to a drug orgy, that's for sure. Hey, I got this party over here.
Somebody actually told my sister the origin of A, and we was kind of surprised what it was. It's actually British, and it's apologize. Of course, A is apologize.
I thought you were going to tell us the origin of orgies.
Yeah, I was like,
No. I can tell you a funny definition of orgy.
I'm ready for it.
Okay, it's 5 people with their socks off on a bed. I can't remember where I read that, but it was like the funniest thing I ever read.
Some of them had their socks off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I in college walked in on in my apartment that I was not staying at that current night, walked in on a whole lot of people naked and some people crying, and it was real awkward.
Oh, that would be very awkward.
And I was like, I was moving out, and so I had to, like, I had told my roommate I was going to clean the oven, but I was like, I'm going to just come back later.
Excuse me, I just need to get.
I'm gonna just spray this down,
Yeah,
and then it says to let it wait a couple hours, and I'll.
Oh no, thank you. I'm fine, thanks. I just need to get to that. Yeah.
College is a wild time, guys.
It is.
And I was not involved, but my roommate was.
Your roommate, right?
Yep. All right, guys. I don't know that anybody joined us, but you know what? We had a fun time.
Yeah, we had a fun chat.
And this wild, read a book by somebody you wouldn't normally read by.
Yes.
This whole thing, I feel like, should be kind of a call for everybody to read stories outside of, your
comfort zone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, to really curate your, like, during February, everybody's like, read books by Black authors, but I feel like we should always be curating what we are consuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're reading broadly, and I feel like this also falls into that. To make sure, because I don't know, bringing it back here, like, we're creators, like we are writing and arting and all of that kind of stuff. And like, it's important to take in all of these different perspectives so that we are not, because part of writing and part of art in general is to see other people do their craft well and to see other perspectives, because if all you are going to do is write from your own, very narrow worldview, then there's not much fun in that. So read broadly, game broadly, art broadly,
yeah,
stuff.
stuff. Drug orgy broadly. Yeah, whatever,
That's
you
our
know.
catchphrase now.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Stuff. Broadly.
Yeah. No, but that's the encouragement. Make sure
I
that
think
your
that's
table is inclusive to everybody. Tabletop gaming is notoriously great for people to explore other parts of themselves and, you know, explore different perspectives and things that you wouldn't normally do in your regular life. And I feel like, honestly, book talk and TTRPG talk should overlap in a lot of ways because
Definitely.
I am both of those kinds of nerds.
I would love to do a regular book club with you guys.
Actually, I think we
maybe
should.
a couple of times a month we do this.
Hey,
you know? Yeah.
I would love it, especially honestly. I'm so glad that I
Those
read
of us who know
Rivers.
how to read.
I mean, like, you know, Rick said he was going to be here, but then
Rick
like
says a lot of things.
But then maybe he
Isn't
maybe,
Rick at GaryCon right now? Like,
Yeah.
why would Rick
Yeah.
even say he was going to be here?
I don't
I
know
think we
because
forgot.
he wanted us to know that he could read and then he lied. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
About reading. Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, like a lot of our team did not have time, but I would love to do that. I am honestly, I read probably like I am not a TV person, so I read like that is my main my main entertainment is usually in my ears.
Let's drop a couple of book ideas into the Discord. Maybe start a
that
book
would
club channel, and see if we can get people interested in reading a book. And then
that would be really great, and it would be
every
awesome.
couple of weeks somebody else picks the book.
Yeah, and it'd be awesome if you know, people from our Discord also wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
I'll actually hold on one second. If I can get I'm gonna just really quick on here. I'm gonna also link our Discord.
There it is.
Oh no. Hold on.
There it's not.
That is it. I don't know why it has the Discord invite link, but
just to tell you what it is.
Yeah, but join our Discord. Mostly it's memes and us being weird, but you know, I'd love for it to be other stuff. And honestly, storytelling is a huge part of tabletop gaming, and I really think it's important to read to broaden your abilities as a game master. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully maybe it'll be a regular thing. Maybe you'll see us back here. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Alana. Thanks, Jason. And I'm Erin.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks, Alana.
Thank you.
Yep. And good night.
Good night.